DC, of course, has another superhero movie up their sleeve, Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
Which I think is, I think this is. I mean, it looks like Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah.
In a good way. Like it looks weird and funny, and it's
surprising.
Lesser known characters who, like, I feel like Superman is so iconic that he's really kind of easy to screw up.
Yep.
Suicide Squad is like Killer Croc. Like, he's cool, I guess.
We've never seen him on film.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of these characters we haven't.
Yeah.
I mean, there's the Joker, obviously, is the most recognizable character in this film, in that we've seen his cinematic depictions numerous times. But you're right in that, like, people have a preconceived notion of what Batman should be and what Superman should be, and when it doesn't really hover around that, people get upset. But this, kind of like Guardians of the Galaxy, was when I sat down in that theater and I was like, I don't really know what to expect, because I wasn't really married to the source material. I was incredibly pleasantly surprised. And I'm expecting the same situation here. Showing up and just kind of being like, I'm not married to any of these characters, so let's see how they do it. Like,
yeah.
And just walking away surprised.
And I mean, Harley Quinn is a new enough character that she's been kind of reinterpreted a few times already. Like, she's been around
I do
since,
miss her Brooklyn accent, though.
Yeah, she's been around since like 1991, and we've already seen her in her kind of classical animated series version. We've seen her, show up in comics a handful of times, and I mean, she's got her own comics, obviously. But then there's also like, there's the Batman Arkham versions, there's the Injustice versions, and like, you know, it all kind of like, I feel like because she's kind of she's a post-reboot character.
Yeah.
Like, they were rebooting comic book characters before she came along. She's kind of almost made to be flexible in that sense. Deadpool's the same way.
We're also seeing glimpses of Batman in this trailer, which is super cool to me, because it's like, so obviously it's no secret that Batman was the best part of Batman vs Superman. So I'd like to really see how this plays out, because playing or watching a Batman story from the perspective of the villains, and I know it's more than that, it's such a cool premise. It's something that you don't really get into, because the whole nebulousness of comic books superheroes is that they're all sort of warped and dark and messed up, and they have selfish motives. And like, what makes these guys any different than sort of Batman in that sense, right?
I'm already worried that I've seen too much of this movie, though. Like, I mean, it's cool because it jumps around in a way that I don't know what's going on, whereas the trailers for Batman v Superman were like, and then this happens, and then this happens. Like, this seems like kind of all over the place.
Yep. Are you worried about like the reshoots and stuff like that? Like,
not really.
Yeah,
I mean,
I'm not
I'll wait and see. I think that David Ayer has a better track record than Zack Snyder as far as being a director goes. So there's that. That said, we got a really, really, really weird piece of news about Suicide Squad, which sounds like just kind of crass publicity, but it could also just be, is this weird or is this crazy? I guess getting into character as the Joker, Jared Leto decided to kind of pull some wacky pranks on his colleagues and would send them gifts. Weird little gifts. Like, I don't even know if we're allowed to talk about some of the stuff on IG. Condangs.
Used condangs.
And some bottom beads.
Anal buttons.
Yep. Anal beads. We can't even say it.
And he sort of did this to like
Condarns,
to keep them on their toes. Like, this quote's weird. I did a lot of things to create a dynamic, to create an element of surprise, the spontaneity, and to really break down any kind of walls that there may be. The Joker is somebody who doesn't really respect things like personal space or boundaries. Tee-hee. Like,
okay. The guy who played Croc, whose name I will never be able to pronounce.
Yep.
Adewale Akinoi. I'm sorry.
You did pretty good.
It's anyway. I guess he said...
He said he got sticky Playboy magazines from Jared Leto and a dead pig. And he said that was a good gift because it had the effect of unifying us as a group, because then it became us against him.
You know what the big problem here is? Not the big problem. There's a lot of big problems. But the part that I don't like is that the Joker, he wouldn't be messing with Playboy magazines. Playboy doesn't even do nudity anymore. He'd be doing like really weird hardcore stuff.
Yeah.
He'd be like, here's some German stuff that I like. You're like, what is this? And you know,
it's also
really,
like
he'd have some scare or like a Bed Bath & Beyond catalog, and you're like, what's wrong with you?
Like, I've read stories of like characters like Daniel
Playboy.
Day-Lewis staying in character on set the entire time during There Will Be Blood, and people are like, what's going on with this guy? This is crazy. But this is like, and I get that. Like, there was that quote that when Jared Leto stepped on set dressed as the Joker, people just like gasped, and it's like, I can't wait to see that. That's awesome. This backstory stuff of him being like, hey, I pooped in your car, like, that's not necessary.
Yeah. Maybe he put a jar of pee in someone's iced tea bucket.
Oh, and switch the grandma's peach tea.
No, it's funny though, because when they were shooting Batman Returns, and they had Danny DeVito as the Penguin, apparently the Stan Winston makeup effects on there were like so frightening that people avoided him.
Yeah.
Like, that happens sometimes. That does happen on movie sets, even without people being like, "I'm sent you a condarn."
Yep.